guys. Happy Tuesday. I'm Trisha Turner. This is Anything But Average. I got my good friend Nick Good with me today. I want to tell you a couple of reasons why. First of all, this is the first one for the month of June, and every month we like to do a themed month. So last month we were celebrating successful moms in business. This month it's Father's Day month, so we're bringing on some awesome dads that are killing it in our industry and whatever industry they're in. And Nick Good is one of those for sure. Not only is he a good friend of mine, but he's an amazing dad and an amazing business owner. So welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having me on again. I love it.
Heck yeah. So for people that don't know you or anything about you, let's give a little bit of your backstory. Let's tell them where you are in the world, what you do for a living, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm here in Dallas, Texas. I own and run the Good Home Team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we have a team in Austin and just started there in Houston, but in your neck of the woods there, Trisha. We brought on a partner down there. And I've been doing it, got into business 2005, licensed in 2006, started the Good Home Team in 2009. And then I also run A&G Development, an investment and development company that specializes in build-to-rent communities.
All right, now that was a lot. So for one, like he's with us at EXP now. That's how we collaborate together. How long have you been with EXP, Nick?
July 2019. So before, so we came over July 2019. And before that, we were with Keller Williams from 2007 till 2019.
A long time to be at one company and then switch.
So it was, yep.
That made you switch. And that's how Nick and I met. So I switched over from having my own brokerage to EXP in October of 2018. And I think that the coolest thing about it is it brings like-minded people together. So we go to seminars, we go to masterminds, we do a lot of stuff together because we believe we're better together.
100%. Collaboration over competition.
Heck yeah. So for one, before we got on the air, Nick was telling me about this project that he's working. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So you just said build to own. Walk us through that. And what does that look like? And why are you doing this?
For sure. So build to rent communities. That's been our specialty. When we got into, my brother and I started the business in 2009. He was my business partner up until he passed away last October in 2021. And we started out wholesaling and flipping houses, and that grew into, a realization that if we wanted to get to the type of retirement or residual income that we really wanted to live off of, buying one-off single-family houses wasn't going to get us there probably fast enough. We probably didn't have enough years to really build up that type of portfolio. So in 2014, I think it was, we had an opportunity to take over a development project in Denton where there was 5 duplexes already built on the ground with a total of there's 72 units. So what is that? That's 36. I think it's 36 duplexes. So we took it over and built the remaining 31. And my brother was running that project. He really took it over, learned it, thrived in it. Went through the zoning process, went through what it took to really build from the ground up. And that became our specialty, which is build to rent communities. So looking at land, acquiring land and building them and then keeping them in our portfolio. And it's been really, really great for us. And it's allowed us to have life-changing wealth and even more life-changing future retirement money.
Big time. And you can bring your family and look how many lives you're affecting. So quick question then. So you did this, during COVID and all that. Clearly you guys started it during then, and we've seen supply shortages and everything. Are you experiencing that same thing? Is that a true thing?
Oh, 100%. So, our first 2 developments went really, really well. The 72, and we built a 58 unit development down the road. And then we acquired the land, and at the end of 2019, we acquired the land next to our original 72 units. And what we ended up doing on that one, we did 2 things. We syndicated the project out because we really wanted to get into the syndication, the investment syndication game. And so we syndicated out the next development phase, which is 89 townhouses that we're building right now. And absolutely, that's been, I mean, the minute that we started going for permits, COVID happened, and the city that we were building in Denton, Texas, shut down. They wouldn't review plans. They wouldn't approve permits. And so you're holding on to a note, because guess what? You're still paying on that dirt. So what it did do is it threw our budget way out of whack. I know, like, one of our budgets for lumber, we had budgeted $500,000 for the project, and lumber skyrocketed up during COVID, and we finally locked in at a price at $1.5 million. So three times the original budget just for lumber itself.
That's crazy.
Then you had to take an account for all the delays. You had labor delays. we've had material shortage delays. But one of the things that we did not factor in was that, luckily on this project, and it's good for us, not always great for the consumers, that, rent prices have gone up. So, we had pro forma'd out probably about $300 to $400 less than what we're getting right now. And that will, we'll start phase 2 here in the next 2 to 3 months to start building the next 46, because we've got 43 that's already on the ground. We'll do the remaining 46. And then on the land next to it, we're building a 96-bed assisted living and memory care facility. And that's been challenging as well. Like I said, my brother passed away on October 6, 2021. And my responsibility within our companies is I ran the Good Home Team. I ran all of our traditional real estate sales businesses. And I was telling you before we went live, Trisha, that, when he passed away, I have to come in. I chose to come in. I don't have to do anything, but I chose to come in, changing my language pattern on this, by the way. I chose to come in to finish the projects that he had started. And it's like getting dropped off in a foreign country, having to learn the language, having to navigate maybe the customary ways that foreign country has, and making sure that the project, especially with assisted living, you've got the American Disabilities Act that you've got to build to those standards. You've got to build to standards for the health department services, and so it's been in a big learning curve.
I bet.
I'm going to tell you, there's been some days that with as much stress as I'm under, my body starts shutting down, and I go into shakes and convulsions, and it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. And so, but what the good thing out of this is what it really helps mold us to, one, become better leaders for our people. It helps us maybe, for me at least, it helps with, understanding where I want to go with myself and my family and the people that are in my world in the future, in terms of, where we should be investing our money, what type of projects that we should be taking on in the future, whether it's just real estate sales or how to build our income.
Yeah. And, I think, like, even listening to you, and I'm taking all that in, like, for you guys that don't know, like, Nick's brother was his best friend. So that has been very traumatic for him. So going through all of that and then having to learn this part of the business that he really didn't know. I can't even imagine that, and dealing with grief. And then here and now that you have had your body shut down too, it's like, that's a lot to take on, and to see you thriving like you do, because you hide it well, because you always look like you're strong and you're put together and you got this going on. And that's how we do. We fake it anyway. People aren't going to know when we have a lot going on, but you do. You always look like you have it put together. And I think I just have such respect for you, because you're killing it, and you've never turned your back on your team. Like, they're still getting all of your attention too. And that's a lot. That's a huge role that you have. What can you share that you've learned through all of this that you didn't know before, to somebody that may be listening, like, how the hell did he do that?
For sure. I mean, number one is there's a place and time. You say it looks like I have everything together, and I put on a game face or whatever it is what I also learned. My brother passed away. He took his own life. And so what I learned, the month of May was mental awareness month anyway. And so there's a couple of things that we need to circle around their people, especially when things get going tough, because you don't know what people are going through at any given moment. And so what I asked my team, On our real estate sales side, I asked them to, one, give me grace and give me patience, because I acknowledge that I am not leading. I'm not the type of leader that they deserve and that they need, that they have right now, because my 95% of my energy and focus has been to get this development project to the finish line, because there's a lot of debt tied to it.
Heck yeah.
And there's investor money in it, right? There's other people's money that is relying on it. And so one thing that I ask my team is for grace, and also to dig into what we've been teaching them and what we've been going over this whole entire time, even before this happened. The second thing is to acknowledge, where you are in that space. So like when my body starts shutting down, or had been, it was, I was still saying yes to things that I shouldn't have been saying yes to. Right. Because I wasn't used to this new normal, or this new role that I'm taking on. And I'm still saying yes to a lot of other things in my world, that eventually I just had to say, look, guys, I can't do, maybe later, but at this moment I can't do. So it's, I think there's learning how to say no.
Oh yeah.
Has really helped on that. And just really being open and transparent, not 100% faking it, like I have it all together, but saying, hey, sometimes this is a shit show. And, and what we're going to do on this is how we're going to work through it. That's pretty much been the whole ordeal so far.
And y'all, another thing that we didn't mention is he has also a baby.
Yes, a 4-month-old.
All of that, there was a baby born too. So it's like, how old is your baby now?
She's 4 months. She was born, January 24th. So in the midst of all this, I have a 15-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-month-old. And so, and look, your family life doesn't slow down either.
No. Like you got 15 to baby. That's like a huge range. That's a lot of activities. That's a lot of crying. That's a lot of no sleeping. And you're working like round the clock.
Yeah, look, I mean, they had to deal with from October through today. They've had to deal with, losing an uncle, losing a family member, losing, putting some newfound stress on our family in terms of, again, what's our new role? What are we doing at this very moment to get through this? And so, and especially as a 5-year-old doesn't know any better. The 15-year-old's going through she's going through her own ordeal just at 15 and going through those struggles. So absolutely. I mean, life doesn't stop, but at the same time, it's what we've learned here is to be better with our communication as a family, better communication as a husband and wife, better communication with my operations team in business and my sales team in general.
So when you've been in real estate sales forever, you've been killing it in real estate sales. When did you start that transition into creating other entities to create other income?
We started that in 2000. So we really started the company in 2009 for the sales team. Our investment division started in 2010. So we bought it was a short sale, bought our first short sale for like 100, and we sold it for 135, 140 within 90 days. And we're like, all right, this seems cool. Let's go ahead and start doing this. So again, we realized that we needed, we wanted to get into real estate investing in the first place. And that helped us, my brother was better suited. He was not a great real estate salesperson. He was better on the investment side. And so we just went down that path. And then, we saw a lot of old time real estate agents in this business who didn't have their retirement planned out. And they were still at 60, 65, 70 years old, still doing this good for them at a high level. But we were talking, I was like, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 60 years old. I don't want to have to go on a listing appointment, worried about whether or not they're going to hire me, or maybe if it's a younger potential client that they see me as too old to help be relatable to them or help them, get the best price. And I don't want age to become a factor where I'm no longer relevant in this business. So what better way to really hedge our bet on this and protect ourselves is to go start buying rental properties, and start owning the inventory.
So then you've gone from that. Now you're doing these townhomes. What's next? You have you're now working through this kind of by yourself. And I know you have partners and therefore you have people to help you with it. But does that, now that you've gotten a taste of this, is there more? Is this more coming?
Sure. There's more something. I won't say, I don't know 100%. I don't know if the next chapter of this is 100% building. But there's definitely more investments coming. We have partnerships in 6 storage facilities. And so look, what's coming in the future, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for investments to go and place your money, especially with the way that we feel the economy and the real estate market is headed, or where it's headed. And probably looking at value add. So properties and or multifamily and or storage or RV park style businesses that are already built and already on the ground, where we can go and take them over and put our flair on it, our touch, and bring the value up, increase rents, and either hold it or resell it at a nice profit is more than likely the direction that we will head in.
So Grant Cardone, I follow him, and now he's just been like killing it forever as a developer and builder and real estate. So his thing is he goes and buys these properties and then, basically puts lipstick on a pig and does updates to them, holds them, and then waits for the cash flow to come in and then sells them. Now that you've been involved in actually the building and developing one, do you think it would be easier to do what he does and acquire something and then make it look nice, or do what you've done and start from ground up?
Just depends on what your appetite is. I would say that I don't know 100% if my strength is into the acquiring land, going through the permitting process and all the approval process. I don't know if that's where my strength 100% lies. And maybe for other people, and the time frame to get from ground to construction to bringing in revenue, that's a patient play. Right. That's, you're not really seeing revenue for about 24 months.
Yeah.
And man, that just, again, that
you got money going out.
My high D personality really doesn't like that part. I didn't like it before and I don't like it now. So I would much rather look at designing a system that goes and looks for value add opportunities, meaning it's already built on the ground. Maybe it's poorly ran by a management company. Maybe it was an owner managed and they didn't do a very great job. Maybe it's owned by an older investor and they just didn't do anything to upkeep it because it was providing enough income for them. And now it's time to release the asset. And so there, I think that's where our strength will lie in the future. But again, who knows what will happen? And in 12 months from now, I could be completely coming back on this for next year's Father's Day, and we've got three ground up constructions going.
So you guys acquired the land. You have nothing finished just yet, right?
No, we have. So on the assisted living, we have it's 7 buildings. Out of the 7 buildings, all 7 buildings are on the ground. We're going for state licensure approval on the first 3 buildings.
Wow.
We should be, in the next 90 to 120 days, be 100% out of that project. For phase 1 on the 89 townhouse project, we'll have, we're at 33 already on the ground, rented out. And the other 13 of the 13 remaining are in between, in the next 60 days, we'll be at CO, certificate of occupancy stage, to where we start, we'll start pre-leasing those up. So, and then we start phase 2 in the next 3 months. So phase 2 will be the rest of the remaining 46 townhouses and get those on the ground and start leasing them up.
So when you were building, were you pre-leasing those? Did it go quick? How did that happen?
It went a lot fast. So we start pre-leasing when we're about 30 to 45 days from when we believe we're going to we'll get certificate of occupancy. So, absolutely. So, One difference that between my brother and I, my brother was a lot more skeptical on renting up this many units at one time, and I said, basically hold my beer and watch this. This is my, this is look, we run a great sales team, and so I just put our sales style marketing and systems in place. And on one of our rental calls last week, the problem that we're running into is that we're renting them out so fast that we're not able to get the smart home people in there to wire them up quickly enough. And we had to look. I look for silver linings in everything now, right? Because these projects remind me of my brother. You talk about grieving. I have yet to grieve because I went into losing my brother to making sure that our projects, still run as efficiently as possible. So, one of the silver linings that I was looking for, I was like, guys, don't you remember when Austin was really worried about how quickly these would lease up? And I said, he would be wrong on it. Well, guess what? He was wrong. And let's go ahead and celebrate this moment. We need to celebrate. These are wins. And, those are, look, it's sad, but we're happy. It's kind of all weird mixed emotions on these two projects. It's definitely interesting.
And so do you think the housing market, being this inventory shortage that we've had, do you think that played a role in how fast you leased your?
100%. I mean, look, It was kind of that perfect timing on it. And look, even it, the only thing that scares me a little bit of the, not scares me, but maybe a bumpy patch of the unknown is, if and when the economy pulls back, are buyers going to do what are consumers going to go the opposite and actually start buying? Because normally when the economic pullback starts to happen, we see actually more people go into renting.
Yeah.
But in this case, we may see an opposite happen just because they're over here worried about interest rates and prices being too high. But also at the same time, our rental rates are sky high.
Yeah.
So if an economic pullback happens, do we actually see more consumers going into the purchasing mode and getting out of the rental mode? So that's kind of a bumpy patch of an unknown, just because we've never been in this type of economy and real estate market. But there's going to be plenty, people like to, the younger generation still likes to be in the rental game.
Yep.
They like new, and this is a new luxury product. We're in between two colleges. So we should always have that college demographic. We're also going after that young professional. So we're just trying to put a good product in the marketplace and make sure that our renters are happy.
Did you do all 1 bedrooms or 1 and 2s? How'd you do it? How'd you structure
it? No, so these are townhouses and duplexes. So our townhouses are 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. And our duplexes are 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. And the duplexes each have a little side yard, a fenced in side yard. So,
nice.
We rent the 4 bedrooms out for $2,200 a month right now. That will be increasing. And then the 3 bedrooms are $2,100 a month. So
those are good deals. I mean, you get a 1-bedroom apartment for like $1,600 here in Houston. So it's like, that's a no-brainer there.
Exactly. And we're doing that. We're doing that because we've been delayed on our project. And so because of COVID and supply chain. So we wanted to rent it at, this is still even a higher price than what we pro forma'd out, but we wanted to start getting renters in there. And then we'll slowly start pushing those rents up as they turn over the next coming years. And then the 72 units that I own behind it were built in 2014 and 15. They're older, but they're not that far behind it. They're at $1,800 and $1,900 a month in rent. So, and they're literally adjacent to each other. So you've got a good mixture there.
You do. So let's talk a little bit about real estate sales, because I know you run a mega team there too, and you guys are hardcore at it, and the market has shifted. So I'm going to pick your brain a little bit about that, because I think we need to talk about that, because there's a lot of people that still have the blinders on, and sellers are still greedy, and they think they can bend these buyers over a barrel, and they want, top dollar plus some. And there are buyers out there that don't realize what's ahead. So walk me through kind of what you're doing with your team differently, or how you're talking to them, or how you're instructing them to handle like the next 6 months.
Absolutely. This is easy. We just had our team meeting today and talked about this. There's two things. There's 2 things that I discussed with our team today on our team meeting call. The first thing is be careful at at screaming about the doomsday and the shift, right? If you see, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you see a lot of agents sharing the 7-day market report, basically that has new listings coming on, price reductions, pending contracts, active option, et cetera. And they're like, look how many new listings are coming on. Look how many price reductions are here. And while we're seeing about in the last 7 days almost 3,500 new listings, what they're not sharing is and really talking about is that properties under contract and active option and pending, and then properties closed are still actually greater than the new listings coming on. And so, the other data that I really talk about with our agents is you're seeing a large number, you're seeing definitely an increase in price adjustments and price reductions. But what we don't know behind this before we go screaming about this market shift, and I do agree that there's something shifting. We don't know how great or how drastic it's going to be, is that we don't know, one, was the agent just taking a listing at a high price just to get the seller to come aboard and then beat them up on adjusting their price later? Was it a overzealous seller who said, let's just see what can happen and then lower the price? We don't know really what that is all about. And so there's a couple things that we look for. First off, that this is our time as real estate agents to go and really start educating homeowners that yes, the market is shifting. We don't know how fast, we don't know how great it's going to shift in terms of a more balanced market. And so if you do want to sell quickly, if you're not a patient person, now's the time to go ahead and sell.
Yes.
Now's the time as an agent, to go pick up that inventory and really start to secure your place in this market. The second thing that we're doing is advising, is going back to our agent or to our clients, our buyers over the past 12 months, our tired buyers. Maybe they got tired. Maybe they just said, no, I don't want to be in this ultra high competitive market because I can't compete. And as I said, let's re-engage them. Let's bring them back to life and let's have conversations. Yes, prices are a little bit higher. Yes, interest rates are higher than they were the last 12 months. But there's one thing that will happen. If you believe that you're going to stay in your house over 7 years, one thing, if there is a price, if home prices are going to fall, they're not going to fall that much, and they'll go back up because look what happens cyclically. And two is that, as the economy starts to pull back in the future, what happens to interest rates? Typically, interest rates come back down.
Yep.
And so you'll have an opportunity to ride the rest of this home price increase up, whatever is left in the marketplace. And, as interest rates start to fall back down, it gives you a good chance to go ahead and refi and readjust your rate and readjust your payment.
Yep.
The other question that I always want to bring up, especially on first-time home buyers, is saying, look, you don't want to enter this marketplace right now, but you're willing to accept and you're somehow okay with how much rental prices have increased. And you're not in control of rental prices, by the way. Mm-mm. You're in control. Once you buy that house, you're in pretty much 99% control of what your payment's going to be when you lock in your mortgage. The only thing that's going to adjust is property taxes and your property insurance.
Yep.
So those are the conversations we have. And then as agents, our job is to get in front of them. And the only way we need to get in front of them is we need to make our calls. We need to get in front of them. We need to send our video messages out to them and start educating the consumer.
Yeah. I think, there's a lot of agents that for the last 2 years with COVID were selling homes, and it was really easy for them. I mean, basically almost anybody could sell a home, and that, especially here in Houston, is no longer. And so I think it's going to make the people that were functioning just like that and really don't know how to do real estate, those people may have a problem in the next few months and as we move into 2023. But I think for you and I and people that are like us, that it's a great time and going to be a great market because we are educating the people every single day. Like, this is where your house was, this is where it is, this is where it's probably going to be. It's like you have to make educational decisions every day.
My concern to consumers is the value that they put on real estate agents during this time has dwindled, right? Because they think they're still living 6 to 12 months behind.
Yep.
And so, my main concern that I have is an agent who doesn't sell a lot of houses may also still be living 6 to 12 months behind on their last sale and their experience, and say, well, Trisha, you know what? My last listing got 30 offers and we were able to sell. Don't worry, whatever you're looking for, I'll be able to get, because this is what my last client experienced. But what consumers aren't asking is how long ago was that last sale?
Right.
And then how many sales after that have you had under your belt, and what are you experiencing? What are you seeing a change in the marketplace? Because, I've seen this back when especially here in the DFW and Texas experienced it back in 2017, we experienced a slight shift in the market where we saw inventory in July of 2017 drastically increase.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden buyer demand slowed down, but there were still real estate agents advising their homeowners and advising future sellers that they could get multiple offers that would sell quickly. And all of a sudden you start to see more expireds and more cancels come on the market, because these clients were firing their agents frustrated that they were given poor advice.
Yeah. And, just like you said, I think there's a lot of agents out there that aren't paying attention. And unfortunately, there's a lot of team leaders and brokers that also aren't paying attention. And then they're not talking to their agents. Like, what is expected? What should you be doing? How do you handle these conversations? I think that also is going to be a problem. So for your team and any agents that are watching, like, what would be the 3 things you would tell them to focus on for the next 6 months?
Well, the number one, I would be focusing on getting your database in order and having conversations and going to, wherever, like going to Keep It Current Matters, or going to wherever, maybe it's at your local board that provides real-time data about what's going on in the marketplace. Yep. And start educating, number one, your database, your sphere of what's happening. And then 2 is start really adding to your database of people that don't know you yet. And that's going to come from the for sale by owner market. That's going to come from doing open houses. That's going to come from, even expireds and canceled, reach outs or calls. You need to start adding cold database into your bucket so that you can start to warm them up. And so that in the future, if and when sales start to slow down, that your sales don't slow down, because you've been adding, more and more people to your data bank, basically. Yeah. And you're going to have, future buyers and future sellers. And honestly, I just released a video of this the other day, is start building your investor hit list, start building that up, and really start working on what an instant offer campaign looks like, because there's a lot of people, especially in the state of Texas. Trisha, how many people are you talking to right now that are complaining about how much their property values have increased, and some of them can't afford the property tax increase?
Yep, a lot.
So you're going to start seeing a lot more people looking to make a move with their second home, an inherited home, a vacation home. Yep. over the next 6 months, because they just they want to get out from underneath the increase in property taxes.
Yeah, it's huge. And, so many people's property values went up over the last 12 months. And so especially new construction, that first year of taxes was low. And then the second year, it's like they're in a deficit. They don't have it in the escrow account. They're having to come up with this huge tax bill. Plus then their payments increasing by $1,000, $1,500 a month for taxes. That's a problem, and people can't afford it, and they're freaking out. So I agree with you. I think as we move closer towards October, November, December, into February, we're going to see more homes come on the market because of that very thing. It just has to.
Yep, 100%.
I love it. One thing I think is amazing that you do, besides all the things that you do, but like, you're still focused on the day-to-day tasks and how to grow your team, how to be there for your family, how to do everything. To sum this up for Father's Day, like, how do you pull all this together and still be such a great dad, devoting husband to your wife? Like, how do you make it all work?
I have good people. I have an amazing wife.
Aww.
Yeah. No, I have good people. I mean, it's not me, it's them. Right. So it's 100%. Number one, it's a wife who understands what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And good support systems. So amazing operation teams, amazing agents on our team, that step up during all this time. So again, this isn't about me. This is about them.
I love that. So for Father's Day, what does that look like for you? How are you going to spend it?
I'm going to spend it in Orlando with you guys, because it's EXP shareholders is going on. I don't know who planned that, but I think they messed up on the planning.
Right?
Yeah, that's definitely some poor planning.
I appreciate you and all that you do. You guys, Nick is like amazing. Y'all need to pay attention to him. He's got it going on. He's out there creating income. He's creating wealth for his family. He's helping his agents. I mean, if there's anything to do with real estate, he's got hands in it. You hear him, storage facilities. I love it. How can they get a hold of you, Nick?
Just go to nickgood.work. That's it. They'll have everything there that you need to.
I appreciate you. Happy early Father's Day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have an awesome day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.